The problem with if you smoke is the biggest challenge you have, funny enough, is you don't understand why you smoke. Okay. You know, and I do this with the clients every day. I had two in yesterday, lovely, lovely people from way down south. If they're watching this, they know who they are. But I had two lovely people in there yesterday, and I ask every smoker in the clinic the same question: can you tell me why you smoke? And you'll hear some of the most common answers would be habit, and I go, well, not really. I mean, you know, you could break a bad habit if it's bad for your health and it's costing you 6 to 8 grand a year. I mean, you could break that habit. I mean, if I was going to bed too late and it was affecting me, I could break that habit. I could break the habit of drinking too much tea, which I do, but I could break the habit. I could break the habit of going out too much at the weekends. You know, so you can break habits, especially if they're causing you some sort of loss, confrontation in your life, or you know, it's quite easy to break a habit. You know, then people go, "Oh, well, I'm addicted to nicotine." I'm going, "Well, no, it's not addicted. Nicotine is not addictive. Neither is cocaine. Neither is alcohol. It's not addictive. I mean, some people can smoke a cigarette once a year. Some people smoke a cigarette with a glass of wine on a Saturday night and then never smoke, you know, for the rest of the week. So it's not addictive. The nicotine is not addictive. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is, if you don't understand why you smoke, you're powerless to change. You really, really are. You know, and I'll just run you through a little bit of a process I would use with a client. So I'd say, okay, so basically they'd say, I don't know why I smoke. And I say, thank you, that's fantastic. That's the right answer. You don't know, you know, and it's my job then to show you and educate you why you do. Okay. But the truth is you don't know, and I bet you don't know. Again, you might go habit, stress. No. I mean, why would you poison yourself when you're stressed? Why would you poison yourself when you know, when you feel like, oh, it's the day is over, I need some reward? You wouldn't, okay? And the way to look at this is, you know, if somebody gave you a cup of tea with rat poison, would you drink it? No, absolutely not. Why? Because you know deep down inside there's a risk to that. There's a threat to that. Now, it wouldn't kill you. It might make you feel sick and dizzy, but it wouldn't kill you. But there's no way you drink it. And I say to a client, I'll give you €500 to drink it. They go, no. I'll give you €1,000. They go, no, and rightly so. Why would you drink something like that you know has the potential to hurt you? So the same part of your mind that won't drink the tea with the rat poison is the same part of your mind that smokes cigarettes with rat poison in them. Like, and the reason is, you might go, well, that's strange. Why would it let one thing happen and not the other? Well, the reason is it doesn't know. Your logical mind knows that smoking is bad for you. It also knows that, well, drinking rat poison in tea is not good for you. But in the emotional mind, there's a resistance to putting poison in our mouth. You know, like weed killer, not that you should, but weed killer or tea with rat poison. Okay, so my whole point of it is, the emotional part of you is the smoker, not the logical part. The logical part would not smoke if it had a choice, but it doesn't have a choice. So smoking comes from emotion, okay? And if you're watching this, there's probably a good 95% chance you started smoking in your teenage years in a group, right? Because you have to understand this. We're social creatures, okay? And we get our safety in numbers. We live in herds, like a, you know, field full of sheep, field full of cows, a nest of rats. You know, the more of us that are together, the safer I am. Like 10,000 mackerels swimming up the coast. You know, so if there's 10,000 of us, well then I have a 10,000 to 1 chance that I won't get hurt or I won't die. So we're social creatures, and what happens is by the time we hit our teenagers, we've picked up some stresses and hurts along the way, you know, depending on what sort of life we've lived. But for the majority of people, but everybody actually, we don't feel enough inside. We feel a bit insecure. You know, we're becoming teenagers, our bodies are developing, or, you know, what we're interested in is changing and all that sort of stuff. You know, we're going out, we're not being brought around the baby seat in the car anymore. We're sort of becoming little adults that we now have to take on this world, okay? And so we all have that little bit of insecurity, and maybe you suffer with anxiety as well, and all these other things that we pick up along the way. But when we go into a group, it happens in schoolyards, it happens, you know, behind a club shed, it happens all over the place. But when we go into a group of 2 or 3 other people smoking, and we take one of those cigarettes, and we smoke it, and we go, ugh, we need to get sick and all that, right? We keep doing it. Now, not everybody, I mean, the very small percentage would throw up and never smoke again. But my whole point is that as smokers, you have to work hard at it, because it's poison, it's rat poison, it's petrol, benzene, nail varnish, it's all these horrible chemicals, right? So you're taking them into your system, and your system doesn't know what it is. It's under attack. So we start to feel lightheaded, sick, and dizzy, right? But there's 2 things happening here. One is, after a few times of doing this with the group, we start to feel more secure. I remember it. Like I remember feel like I became a man. And back in my day, all the heroes on TV smoked. I mean, it was like, yeah, I'm there. Like, I was like 13, but I felt more secure. And every time we met up, I felt tougher. I felt braver. I had a bit more confidence. Well, security gave me confidence, right? And because we're so young, the last thing we're worrying about is dying. It's like 70 doesn't exist, 50 doesn't exist, 40 doesn't exist when you're 13. 21 is like, what? Never mind 70. So we keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And what happens is, after multiple times of doing this, a false belief starts to form in our subconscious mind, the emotional mind, that my life is better because I smoke, because you're feeling more secure every time you have them. So every time you buy them, you have them. And to prove that to you, imagine you're away on an island, right? And only every 24 hours you get a little ferry off it. There's no shops in it. And you get there, the ferry leaves, and you have to wait till 24 hours till tomorrow. And then you realize you forgot to bring cigarettes with you. How would you feel? I know the answer is panic, right? Yeah. Because now we're insecure. Now we can't enjoy the holiday. Now we're getting stressed and angry and getting really snappy with people, moody. Why? Because we're insecure. So that just shows you that when you have them, I can get through the day, I can manage anything. And when I don't have them, I fall apart. Okay? So there's the first false belief, okay? Every smoker thinks that their life is better because they have them and they can get through things. Now, they know logically they're not better because they know it's damaging, they know it's expensive. I'm talking emotionally. The second false belief is that they'll relax me, which is impossible. Because there's multiple, there's thousands of chemicals in a cigarette. Not one of those chemicals has the ability to relax the human body. Not one. I'll name a few, okay? Petrol. I understand that because it keeps the cigarette burning from one end to the other. Fine. Rat poison. Benzene, which is used to wash blood off aperture walls. I don't know why. This is a this is a business, and it's a profitable business. They don't necessarily give a shit about what you're doing. All they want you to do is buy them, and they know the psychology. That's why they always promoted smoking to young people. Formula One, Benson and Hedges snooker. When I was growing up, nearly every major sport was sponsored by cigarettes companies. So the two false beliefs. First is, well, as long as I have them, I'm secure. When I don't have them, I fall apart. Second false belief is they relax you, and that's not true. But when you initially start smoking in that group and you start to feel lightheaded, sick and dizzy all the time, that goes away after a week or two. And now you can inhale, and you don't feel sick and dizzy, right? But what you do start to feel is this bit of a calming sensation. A bit of stress, and you go, ooh, seems to just take the edge off, okay? Now, here's the really scary part about that. That's not the cigarette, folks. But what it is that the damage you're doing to yourself is the same as the first pull of the cigarette. Even the last one you had is doing the same damage as the first one. But your mind and body have come together and they've now hide that from you. Because there's no point in feeling sick and dizzy every time you smoke, especially if we're getting security from having them in our pocket. So this is the emotional mind at work. You have them there. I know they're bad for me logically. I know they're killing me logically. I know I'm spending 6, 7, 8 grand a year logically. But emotionally, I can't stop, right? And here's why what I do is so powerful. So here's the two false beliefs. One is, my life is better because I have them. Two, they relax me. That's not true. So when you take a pull of a cigarette, you're damaging your body to the point where it must release a chemical, endorphin, which is a painkiller. So in effect, you're actually hurting your body to the point where it must try to mask it from you, number one, but also remove the pain by releasing a painkiller. That's the illusion of smoking. So when you go, that's not the cigarette. It can't be the cigarette. There's nothing in it to do that to you. That is your mind and body coming together and releasing endorphin painkillers to give the illusion of relaxation. And because of those two false beliefs, most people will struggle for a lifetime to stop them. But when we put you into real hypnosis, when we totally educate you to why you smoke, it's very, very powerful, to have that understanding. But when we do the 2-hour process, by the way, in the Drogheda Medical Clinic, when we do that process and we use real hypnosis and we test to see how you're hypnotized, we have well up to 95% success. We really, really do, and because I only work in truth and honesty. I respect my clients to the point where I'll I'll test every session to see if they're hypnotized. And if they're not, which is really rare, I'll be the first to tell them. Okay, doesn't mean they can't help you. It just means on the day you're struggling to let go. We normally get them back if it happens, and they're fine. It could be as simple as a woman coming to me to quit smoking, and on the way she had a bad phone call. She got a little bit of bad news, or something happened, you know, between the time she left or maybe that morning or something. When she gets to me, there's other stuff going on in her head now that she just can't fully, concentrate on what we're doing. That can happen, right? But when you're genuinely hypnotized, right, what we do is we break the false beliefs, we shatter them, and the subconscious mind is reprogrammable with hypnosis. Hypnosis and the emotional mind, subconscious mind, best mates. Okay. So what we do is we break the two false beliefs, we remove them completely, and we reprogram the mind not to want to smoke. Not that you can smoke, not that you don't want to smoke. And that's when the client walks out, and I say to every client at the end of the session, do you want to go out and have a cigarette? And they're like, no. I said, go on. I get down with you and watch it. And they're going, no. And the reason I do that is because you always hear these stories of people going in, I went in and paid whatever, came out, lit up a cigarette. That's shocking. Because, and it's not necessarily just the operator's fault, but if you're really, really committed, if you're really, really committed, you'd last a week or two by yourself, never mind being hypnotized. So I'll only see you if you're 100% committed for your benefit and mine. But I can only see you if you're at that moment, because if not, I'll be the first to tell you to save your money. It's the wrong time, don't waste it. So, as I say, if you really, really want some help with it, get on to me. You get my number in the bio there. Send me a WhatsApp message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm normally in sessions Monday to Friday, one after another. So it's difficult I get a lot of messages every day, so it's difficult to call every day. It's actually impossible. Each call could take 20, 30 minutes, and I could have 5, 10 people a day. And to do that 5 days a week, come home from work and spend 2 hours on the phone is impossible. But I will get back to you, and through voice notes and all that on WhatsApp. So the number's in the bio there. So if you really want help, you really, really are serious about stopping, it's the best return on investment you'll ever make. Because at the end of 1 year of non-smoking, if you're smoking 20 a day, I think they're now 18.25 or something like that. So I don't know, is that 7 grand, 6, 7 grand? And other people are smoking 25 a day, so now you're up at maybe 8.5 grand a year to kill yourself. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, hope that gives you some insight as to why you smoke and why you can't stop.